Okay. Have you ever been to Stoke Park before?
No, but I've seen Daniel Craig on the
steps.
On the steps.
And
yeah.
Odd Job.
Odd Job, yeah, he was there. Yeah.
He was there, he's spinning his hat around. Well, I've brought you up to Stoke Park because I want somebody very special to have a little look at your golf swing. You're not somebody that has done much when it comes to golf lessons, are you? You like to sort of tinker on your own?
Yeah, I do most of it myself.
Yeah. I figured we'd come up here to Stoke Park, catch up with somebody who I've got to know through Under Armour, a guy called JJ. Now, JJ has coached at the elite level. He's actually a windsurfer by trade, but he's got into the biomechanics. He's created his own golf schools, and I thought today we could head into his little studio over there and just and see how you're getting on. Put you on the force plates and see if there's anything more we can get out of your game now that you're heading up to the seniors tour.
Seniors tour. Full MOT, is it?
Full MOT. Anything that you want to say just before we go into this session?
If you could help me stopping it left as well, that would be good. A little bit heavy, that one. Yeah, it was okay.
Okay, so this contact, that's the contact you like?
Reasonably okay, yeah.
Okay, all right. Quite clean somewhere?
9 out of 10.
Yeah, okay. First thing we're gonna look is your signature. Signature, that means that like in surf, in snowboard, you know, you have goofy and regular.
Okay.
Means that it's possible to surf both ways, but there is a better facility, you know, to surf on one direction than the other. For the golfer, we make study, you know, with the Open Tour in the year '98, so it's a long time ago, but it's still good right now. And we just pinpoint that you have two big categories of players. You have the pusher and you have the puller. So both of them, they are using different fundamentals of biomechanics, and the force they will apply is going to be different depending of what they want to develop in their signature. Okay. The signature, that's first what we'll check is that's what we see at the start of the downswing. At the start of the downswing, either, you know, the center of mass is going from inside to out, which is going to be a push signature pattern, or it goes from out to in, which is going to be a pull. After, you know, it's you may have, you know, a signature of a pusher and like to create, you know, a pull fade, you know, to attack, you know, the green. So, but in this case, you need to understand the fundamentals and to go deeper in the fundamentals of each of the shots.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. From the top of the swing here you are on your shoe. Okay. Here that's your left foot, that's your right foot.
Yep.
If you have the pressure you create, you know, the swing, we're gonna see some good things. We're gonna talk after because I can see some very good shear force. Means that that's going to be creating by the shoes you are wearing.
Yep.
It's automatically, you know, creates a capacity to create shear force on the right foot to create a good coil, a good coil at backswing. So, but that's going to be another discussion just after. What we see, you see the dot here. We look how, you know, the center of pressure is going to be linked, you know, with the center of mass. How does it goes? So if we start that, you can see that up it goes from inside to out. You see the green, okay?
Yeah.
So let's see, verify that on most of them. But normally it's classic. So if we go there, up, you see the dots. If I start the swing coming from in to out. So your signature is clear. It's a push, you are a pusher.
Pusher.
Okay, so you are able, you know, your natural signature is to create the push draw.
Yeah.
When you create a pusher, so this pattern, you see that this one, you know, this line is not so much the angle, you know, of the displacement is almost flat. You should come a lot more from inside.
Right.
Means that, you know, the body, what the center of mass, you know, is doing with the center of pressure, it should make your body coming really from inside, which help, you know, the hands, you know, to to have more room, you know, at the start of the downswing, before, you know, they will, your body will turn, you know, and impulse. Okay. So here the question on all your swing, when the trace is I would say minimalist, is not coming, you know, enough, you know, from inside, in most of the case, and one of the first reason is what's happened at the start. When you start the swing, you start with the weight in the back of the left foot, and the weight in the front of the right foot, which is the start for a pull. So if you start like this, at the downswing you maintain that, and you go straight away on the pull signature. So if you want to maintain a good and consistent signature of push, you need to apply the force not in the back of your left, but in the front of your left, and not in the front of your right, but in the back of the right. So you will be at the same position, you will be in the same force action that you will that when you will start, you know, the downswing. When you start the downswing, we see that the biggest force, you know, are on the back, but just for a small moment. So your signature, you don't play enough, you know, with your signature. All right. So if we discuss now about something which, at the origin, we want really to go deeper on that to protect all the players we prepare during the Ryder Cup. So it was one of the studies, you know, that was created by Ben Erlanger and Sevi Ballesteros to understand more how can we apply the force ideally, you know, to maintain a swing during a tournament and prepare, you know, all the guys, you know, to this tournament. So the major things, you know, for the spine, at this moment, we have a lot of players who are suffering from spine, from the lumbar, from the different position in the spine. Is because, you know, if you start on one direction and you go on the other direction, you're going to create shear force all around, you know, the body. So to be able, you know, to have something which is compact, which is a block where everything is engaging, the best, you know, is to apply the force the more simply possible, always on the same direction you want to have them, you know, the downswing. So I will say, I would like you, you know, before we talk about how to work, you know, with even more, you know, with the shear force on the foot, just to have some few swing where you will just lighting up, you know, the weight under the left heel. So since the start, you almost put it up.
The ground,
And at the downswing, you just keep it up until, you know, the impact. And you just try to keep, you know, the right foot down the longer you can, because you see here, when you have a mid downswing, unfortunately, you have no more weight here. So what's happened here? The foot is coming up, and at some point, you need to react, you know, with the body. So if you keep the weight in the front of the left, the back of the right, you keep it down during all the downswing, it will let you have more room here for the arms before you are turning, you know, with the body. Okay, let's do that. Yeah.
When you make this move off the ball, just visually, obviously the gap gets quite big.
Right.
And that motion, that separation there, keeps you on the front of the right a lot. If you could imagine, at that point, your hands were coming into your right thigh, and the gap was much smaller, you would naturally go more back in the right and forward in the left. When the hands are going kind of this way with your force of your feet, it's almost tricky. What if the hand's coming into the right thigh?
That's a good point. Is it because you start outside that your hands are going outside, or is it because your hands are going outside that your foot are going on the pull action? The thing is, you know, it's very important when we talk about the pain you have also in the back, you know. the peak force, is 183. So you are able, to create a huge amount of power. But, the problem is that you don't use the power because even look at impact, you're in a position, to be like a puller.
Okay.
So your body, he has power, but he's fighting with force we are not applied as on the good direction.
Okay.
So just make that simple, and all that will be even more powerful.
Okay.
So ideally this would be earlier.
Yeah.
So almost your peak force against the ground is earlier, and then you're going to start going vertically and catapulting the club forward.
Right,
Yeah.
okay.
The catapult's happening a bit too late. So I think there's a lot of speed to be gained. I think
Yeah, and
in 85 you should be able to reach 90, I think.
and also when you see, how the weight, is quite complex, what he's doing at the downswing, because if you look at the pattern lines go from in to out, and now he goes at the moment which is crucial, the mid downswing is almost, losing the weight, on the right foot, and after going down, so it could be more simple.
Because that's always something I've tried to try and stop that left knee getting.
Yeah.
Because it stops
Yeah.
It stops me being able to rotate.
The thing is, that
The interesting thing on this one is the more that you go backwards
Yeah.
this way,
Yeah.
the more you can extend the lead side and the more you can get
Exactly.
that way. But if you're over here, like if you think of it, like I would simplify it into one thing, it would be if you're so much on the toe, you're having in your transition to move this way, to be able to go this way, to be able to go this way.
Right,
If
yeah.
you're more in the heel,
Yeah.
it's going to be very easy because now you're going to be able to transition much more naturally on the inside
Underneath.
and start to impulse and go up and back earlier,
Yeah.
which will bring all of that stuff earlier and extend.
the thing, when we see, and you open a lot your right foot as well, means that opening your right foot, makes that going so quick, inside. And when you're there, when you go inside, you put the automatically, the right heel up. And so what happens, the tendency is that you don't move these hips and you turn with this one. So you close, you are a good player, so you make something good with this hand, but the reaction will directly go, with the back. Where, like Chris says, that if you keep, the right foot down and you use, so the arms will be very nicely come in their spots. These hips will remain there, not there, And from that, now, when you're going to be there, it's going to be even more possible, to have these hips going backwards with this one who stay, in place because, your weight is going backward naturally. So just try to lighten up, your left heel and keep the right foot flat the longer you can.
It's interesting you say all this because I've noticed all this in watching what my swing does, but I've never thought about it in using your feet to. I've always thought about it like using your turn and your body.
Yeah.
I never thought about the way that your
As
feet
a cause.
works. Yeah.
You were working on the effect.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good sometimes, but it's more easy, to work on the cause of the.
That to come off.
Yeah.
That to stay down.
So you maybe you don't need to put that so much, but try to find.
Like it gets off.
Just try to find that you keep, the weight, in the front of the left all the way down.
And then make a swing like you were just showing. And you'll be able to see now, if you look on that, if you do that again, you can see on our screen here, if you make that load position at the top, see how you start to create the angle. Start to use the back of this right foot a lot more.
Yeah.
And you almost want to keep that to impact. Like almost like you don't ever move it, you will do. Because the force is going to make you move. But if you
try and
don't
keep it as long as I can. Yeah.
Exactly. And you try and hold the torque.
Yeah.
And then obviously the ground's going to push you when your peak force gets to a certain level.
Try that. Is it to rock or is it ready?
It's all good. It's all set.
Okay. Make one or two so that you get used to that. Normally now, as you will have a better, I would say, transfer, more easy without moving, I will recommend you to test to have the ball a little bit more towards the left foot.
Further forward?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, the first thing, purely in terms of biomechanics, looks now how the pattern line is almost, going on the same direction. It's not going outside, coming, and so if we look at, at the displacements, until the mid downswing, it's perfect. So here, it's normal, that you go, to you go toward, the back, because you need to get used to. But I will recommend you to make a swing where you put the left heel down after the impact.
After impact.
Because right now you put it down at the impact, and you lose a little bit of impulsion, toward the impact. If we look at what we were looking before, with the end speed. So if we go at the position where you have the maximum of end speed, the thing is, it's still for me. You are not impulsing like I would like somewhere. When you're there, do you try to make impulsion in your swing, or is it something you don't look for?
Make an impression.
Impulsion. Impulsion means that you try, not to rotate, but almost to let the body go up.
Do I do that on purpose? Yeah. Not intentional, I don't think. No.
Okay.
Should it be more the other way?
I think you have something there. You have a lot of energy. You have a big peak force, which says that you could let all this energy, when the ends are arriving, toward the mid downswing. Yeah. I should see you now.
Or turn.
Yeah, turn and go. Turn and up. Yeah, turn and up.
Earlier.
And yeah. Just let the move going on, just say, okay, just feel that when you are there, now goes up, because I would say you lose power.
I'm not using the peak force at the right time.
Exactly. And that's why he was mentioning, Chris, that your peak is the maximum load you have is too approach, to impact. If you are a puller, that's what we are looking for. For the puller, everything is turning, impulsion is coming like when they come, but it's more an aggressive rotation. Here for the pusher, we are looking for slingshots, something which is exploding, to be able to deliver, the clubs once the ends have their minimum, once they start, to decrease, their speed.
And you think it's right I stay as a pusher and not change to a puller? Have I got?
I will not change. For me, I will not change. But I would like you. I would like you to test. To use. The force like a puller, and just see. What's going on. Just to have an idea. Even if you are doing a good job, I would say actually on the tour. A majority of pushers, they don't play in push draws, they play in push straights. Okay. Means that, they keep the same motion, the same component at the backswing and downswing, with the force, and they open their stance and they have the ends more strong, which makes, the shot going. It's like if you make the mistake of a push going push straight on the right. If you open your stance, you keep the end strong and you transform, your shot on the straight shots.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's maybe the things I would like to explore with you. How you feel comfortable with that, and see, if you go on the pull. Yeah. But on the pull, it's going to be the opposite. On the pull. Yeah. You will need to have the ends very strong, no release in the end. The weight in like you were starting with, in the front of the right and the back of the left, and you keep that all the way down. Yeah. You want to try? Let's see.
Yeah, we could try.
Okay, let's see. So keep the left foot, the left heel up, right foot flat. Okay. And always you give me feedback. You say, oh, I don't like that, I like that.
That was okay. That was okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So how will you describe the shots?
That was okay. Maybe slightly bottom, but swing felt that I was trying to do what you were saying.
Okay. You tried to get some impulsion on this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see.
So trying to get this heel to come off, so more weight in the toes on the way back on the left foot, and then more weight on the heel of the left foot, because my tendency was to go the other way, so I was getting a bit too much weight in the front there, which was then causing me to not be able to start the downswing correctly. So that's what we changed to.
So here we start, to have, the peak of the ends. We have less time, to go to the impulsion. So it means that what you create, is working.
Right. Okay.
So after it takes time, to go there. So now you have that. Just would like to, before we go to the pull and the push, just would like, to see how you're able, to create even more coiling. So here the coiling is how, on the part of this foot, inside the heel and outside, you should have, the same amount of force.
Okay.
So how you say, you screw up,
It's like a corkscrew.
Corkscrew.
It's like, imagine if you were going to corkscrew your foot against the ground, or you were going to open a jar where you'd be applying pressure.
Yeah.
The front lateral part of the forefoot and the medial heel.
Yeah.
So as you're turning, pressure's here and pressure's here. So as you're creating this movement, what you don't want to do is just go. It's like an around and down pressure into the right heel. Almost. Like you're kind of
twisting it into the floor.
So maybe put that in live, maybe so that you can see, no?
It's more like this way.
Oh, that way.
So it's here and here.
Yeah.
So imagine you were loading this part. That's it. You can see the pressure there already. Yeah. So you're turning and loading that, and then the key is once you've created that amount of shear force, is how long can you hold the shear force?
Exactly, at the downswing.
How long can you keep the pressure? How long can you stay back, keep the pressure, and then obviously eventually you're going to move. But the longer you can keep that,
and that's stopping you from doing that, isn't it? It's keeping you.
It's how you're using that pressure to allow your arms and club to drop in. Because I think I was saying this. I was going to say this earlier on. What you want to hopefully be able to do. Ultimately, when you get down to this point at impact, see how far away from you your hands are here. This gap is quite big.
Yeah.
So we always say it's a bit like if you're going as a figure skater and you're going to go around and you want to jump up in the air or create vertical force, you bring your arms in to create vertical force. The more your arms are away from you, the harder it is to create speed.
Okay.
So by you being able to create shear force and hold here, your arms can start to track
down
much closer to your right thigh, and then much easier around as you make your impulsion.
Yeah, okay.
But the thing is, if you don't have that shear force, it's very hard to stay shut and stay in that position in transition. You're going to want to, like you said, want to go forward with that knee, you're going to want to go forward and open up too early. If you make that move that you just made a minute ago with the foot, so if I held your foot, and I said, okay, put the pressure where my fingers are.
And look at the screen. Look at the screen.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it.
You need to have the peak here.
The peak's on the lateral forefoot.
You see here?
There.
Yeah.
It's really interesting because we used to think, like, if you see the Hendriksen bar, we used to think, like, when we first started, that you got up and
on
down.
these parts.
If I'm walking, I'm on the Hendriksen bar, I'm not on the edge. I'm just walking in the middle of the foot.
Right.
I used to think that the weight would go up and down that. So we used to try and keep the weight over and down that. But the imaginary thing is, if you're going to keep the foot down, and that's the centre of point, if you can apply pressure across the bar, it's going to be more stable.
Right.
If you just go up and down, I mean, we were saying before, we used to just go up and down the Hendriksen bar, and we realised actually it's not too bad, but you're creating a rotational force across that. And the more that you've got pressure here and pressure here, the easier it is to keep the foot in position. And it's that ability to keep that pressure down. If you just go back in the heel, as you transition, you'll go forward on the toe. It's the shear force that keeps the foot planted.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah. Just trying to
feel that.
It's understanding the theory, but it's then put it into practice.
Absolutely. But if you imagine, like, the other thing that I also think is like you were saying at the beginning, if you get yourself positioned there at the start, if I kind of went like that with your hand path and said move your hand path kind of along that line, it's easier to create the pressure.
you'd naturally.
So it depends which way you're going to feel it, whether it's externally or whether it's internally.
Yeah.
But if you kind of felt that happened and the gap kind of stayed constant,
Yeah.
you'd be able to make this move a lot easier.
Yeah.
I would say.
Makes sense.
Yes, I like this sound. Yeah. I like this sound. And they are more approach. Yeah. I will just, okay, go take your address, make the little rocking. Okay. Okay. I will adjust, the end at the start. Let me go away and you swing. Okay? From you finish the swing and you do everything. Huh? So take your address. For me, the ends are, you like the ball like this. For me, the ball is very far.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be good to have that here. Yeah. From that position here. Okay, let me go and swing. Okay, do it again. The goal is really to fight against the shear force around the body.
Yeah.
You need to have the ends, who are coming very approach to you at mid down swing before you turn. Okay, so that's why when you are on that position here, okay, you make the shear force and you go. All right.
I certainly can stand close to it. You want more that move, rather than I guess that. But it's trying to do that and do the foot is tough.
I know it's a lot, but good. Yes. Okay, even it don't finish, the draw.
Yeah.
But now you can certainly feel something which is easy to manage during the downswing. Not to.
Yeah.
I don't want to talk to you, but so what are you feeling on this one?
That felt okay. Like it's going to take a bit of practice, but it's doable, and it feels more more connected in here.
Exactly.
I guess.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Look at those two impacts. If you take the one, that's the beginning of today, the one you hit really well, and this is what you just did. It's a drill swing, fair enough, but look at this and the gap here, and how much obviously the shaft has raised the handle relative on the lead arm. The gap is a lot smaller. And then if you look at this on the left, what's your impulsion here? Through the ball. Look how much you're standing more up.
Yeah.
How much tighter the CP. Look how much tighter this is.
Yeah.
So the club's going around the outer circle nicely, and the hands are staying on the inner circle. So you should never have any flips or shots which go left. Whilst here you can see, as that gap gets bigger, you're just naturally gonna chase it with the hands.
That's where the lefts come from.
Yeah.
The further the hands get away from the body, I always say this all the time, the bigger this gap gets, if the gap's getting bigger through impact, the only way it's going to stop is by letting that go. If the gap is constant and not changing, you're going to have some stability and pressure on the face. It's going to stay stable.
Makes sense.
It's like chipping with your hands going away. You're chipping. It was about keeping this so close. Why? Because the loft and the bounce is so constant.
So all in all, Paul, how was your experience with JJ? Interesting chap, isn't he?
Very good. Very
and Chris,
insightful.
obviously, Chris got involved there
Chris
as well.
was really good as well. Yeah. No, it was great. It was great to have two people with such knowledge have a look at my golf swing and tell me exactly what's going on. And it was really interesting because I knew a lot of the things I knew, and I've been trying to sort of iron them out over the years. But it's the way that they work from the ground upwards. And a lot of the stuff I've been trying to do myself is kind of working on moves with the upper body more so than the lower body. So it's interesting to see that by changing what I do with the way that my pressure is in my feet and the way that I shift my weight is actually going to completely change what my upper body does. So it was really good.
Now, what I always found interesting was, and I've never heard this before, is the thing like signature, your signature.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of someone being either a pusher or a puller? Is that something that's
not in the golf sense? No.
Not at all. No. But I mean, it makes sense when they explained it to us.
Yeah.
I was sort of nodding the whole way through that because it all made sense to what was kind of happening.
Yeah.
So, are you a pusher or a puller?
Pusher.
You're a pusher, so you're somebody who likes to see the ball lets you move from right to left.
Yeah, I think it's more to do with the way that your weight shifts. I think is what they were trying to explain.
Yeah.
And I've always hit a draw,
Yeah.
so it makes sense that that my weight shifts that way. So yeah, definitely.
And controlling it now with using your feet a little bit more, is that something again that you're going to sort of take away and think about?
Yeah, a couple of things, you know, like how to become more efficient with the way that your weight transfers and moves is huge with trying to gain power.
Yeah.
So that I'm going to definitely take away, and also the sort of staying back on my right side, I think, is going to help me with the way I exit through the shot and hopefully stop those shots going left. So.
Do you know, that was funny when they were saying about staying back on that right side. I thought to myself, like, it all makes sense to me. You've struggled to get the ball up in the air, and instantly you saw the height.
Yeah.
But I just thought, he's not going to like that. Not sure he's going to go down that road.
Not at Saunton and a 40-mile-an-hour wind.
Not at all. Not at all.
Probably not. But
anyway, yeah. I mean, it's good though, isn't it? We've taken something from it, and you've got something now to focus on over the winter time.
Yeah, definitely.
And
that's been really good.
See if you can gain some more yardage going into your senior plan. Should we call it a senior plan?
All I want to do is hit it straighter and longer, that's all.
That's all we want to do. Anyway, don't forget, if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. Hope you've enjoyed that one. Big thanks to Chris, big thanks to JJ, big thanks to Stoke Park for having us, and we'll see everybody again very soon.